When the Canadiens hit the ice tonight, they'll be looking for a record, 12 straight playoff wins. Overtime has been the Montreal key. They've won 7 straight times in OT. The much-anticipated opening round showdown with the Quebec Nordiques exceeded expectations, with 3 games decided in the extra session. The battle for Adams Division supremacy brought on the Buffalo Sabres, and 3 more games in OT. 4-3 was the final count in all 4 games of the sweep, and the Buffalo Sabres were history. Now, in the 3rd round, 2 of the 3 games have involved extra time against the New York Islanders. If numbers have a hidden meaning, then try 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the time of Guy Carbonneau's OT winner in Game 3, 12-34. Put another way, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was that simple. Lights out, game over for the Islanders. In even more simple terms, if the Islanders lose at home tonight, the Prince of Wales trophy moves from Pittsburgh to Montreal. The Nassau County Coliseum is jammed, maybe for the last time this season. Tonight, the Islanders are on the brink of elimination. Only the 42 Leafs and the 75 Islanders have overcome 3-0 deficits to win a 7-game series. It has to start tonight for the 93 Islanders. Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Armitage, and welcome to Game 4 of the Wales Conference Final. The Montreal Canadiens are on a roll, a very big roll. If they win here tonight, they advance to their first Stanley Cup final since 1989. That was the year they were beaten by Lanny McDonald and the Calgary Flames. What are the chances of Montreal losing tonight? Well, you have to go back to October of 1988 to find the last time the Habs lost here in Uniondale. And since that time in Uniondale, they have gone 7-0-1. Last year at this time, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Pittsburgh Penguins won 11 straight playoff games. Tonight, Montreal can wrap up the series and set a new record, but don't count on overconfidence.
A lot of people think that we can be overconfident. I mean, it's been 11 in a row. If we had to be overconfident, could have happened earlier than that too. I mean, we won in 4 games against Quebec, and during the 4th game, I think we were ready to, you know, we knew they were down, and we kept them down. Against Buffalo, we did the same thing, and you know, especially tonight against the Islanders, we're certainly going to try to do the same thing.
In Game 3 of this series, the best Islanders scoring chance in the overtime went to Pierre Turgeon. You don't get too many chances like that versus Patrick Roy. The Islanders have played Montreal well, but the Habs have played better.
They're playing very well right now, and like you said, we had a lot of chance in overtime the last 2 games, and we just have to keep plugging, and you know, everything's gonna turn out well. And right now we got nothing to lose, and it's 3-0, and we're just gonna go out there and just play the best we can do.
Either the Cinderella postseason of the New York Islanders or the Montreal Canadiens record-tying 11-game playoff win streak will end tonight in Game 4 of this Wales Conference Championship Series. Jacques Demers says Patrick Roy is his only superstar, and he's playing at a superstar's level right now. One of the early favorites for the Conn Smythe Trophy. And at the other end, Glenn Healy of the Islanders makes his 17th consecutive postseason start. Only Felix Potvins played more minutes and made more saves in this year's playoffs. Referee Dan Maruelli and the linesmen Kevin Collins and Ron Finn.
Patrick Roy's save percentage is the big thing. He has a .932 save percentage, and a lot of that his team clearing rebounds. He makes that first save, and then they clear the rebounds.
We're underway in Game 4, and Lyle Odelein skates to center and fires it in on Glenn Healy. Red Dalgarno for the Islanders. Up against the boards, Malakhov chopping at it. Kirk Muller watching him. Now kept in by Schneider towards Healy, and he'll hang on for a face-off 26 seconds in.
Of course, the Canadiens haven't lost anywhere since they were beaten in the first 2 games of their first series in the Adams Division at the Colisée in Quebec City. And when they went on the road, they go extra time.
What impresses me is they usually play a good first period to take the crowd out of it. The crowd's in it right now. The Canadiens trying to press, score an early goal, and take the crowd out of it.
Muller kicks it free on the face-off. Shot by Schneider right on. Another stop for Healy.
The Islanders have played well here at the Nassau County Coliseum. You see 5-2. One of the things Al Arbour talked about in between games was his team's face-offs and how they've been losing face-offs. And they're a good chance by Matthew Schneider right from a face-off in the Islanders' zone.
Talked to Fitzgerald about the strength of the Canadiens on face-offs, and he said Muller particularly strong because of his skates, the way he can kick it free. Islanders controlled this drawn out at center ice. It is Fitzgerald moving in. There's a shot on Patrick Roy. And one of the things the Islanders talked about going into Game 4, getting as many shots as they can on the Canadiens netminder. They feel they've been too fine looking for the perfect play throughout the first 3 games. There's Healy clearing it off Malakhov's ankle, and now Malakhov will skate out with it. Lead pass over Turgeon's stick. There's Daigneault around the boards. Benoît Brunet on the left wing. Out there now with Ed Ronan and Guy Carbonneau. And they skate to center. Ronan feeding it in for the Canadiens captain. There's Brunet. Pierre Turgeon on the ice for the Islanders. Brunet took it away from Thomas, but out at center ice, McInnis. And now J.J. Daigneault, a minute and a half into Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship Series. At center ice, Jeff Norton in the lineup for the Islanders for the first time in this series. He takes Tom Kerber's spot, Norton number 8. At center ice, it's Uwe Krupp in the middle. Norton deflects it in, and Thomas will give chase up against J.J. Daigneault, who has played so well in this series. And Daigneault skates out with it to Carbonneau. He'll flip it into the Islanders zone, and the Canadiens will make a change. Healy out and outlets it to Marty McInnis at center for Turgeon. Here's Pierre Turgeon, a shot blocked by Desjardins. Kevin Holler out at center ice. Rich Pilon there for the Islanders, and he'll backhand it in as the New York Islanders make a change.
And the Islanders making quick changes, trying to get everybody involved as soon as they can early in this game.
Here's Flatley intercepting a Canadiens pass. Can't get loose. Desjardins gets it to center. Kasparaitis there. He's got a player trapped offside and has to wait for Benoît Hogue, and now Kasparaitis loses it. Back comes Mike Keane with Damphousse. Damphousse shot through the goal crease. Keane keeps it along the boards. DiPietro can't get it against Pilon. And Kasparaitis will take over for New York. Darius Kasparaitis hitting the line, drops it off. Benoît Hogue shot right on, and Patrick Roy covers up. 3 minutes in to Game 4.
New York Islanders talked about their outman situations, and Darius Kasparaitis, instead of going offside, gave the puck away and created a 2-on-1. Right there, Kasparaitis gives it up, and here's a 2-on-1, Keane and Damphousse. And the Islanders do a good job coming back to cancel that 2-on-1, and Damphousse had to take the shot from the bad angle. And here's a save at the other end, Benoît Hogue. And he said now he's just going to go for the middle of the net, try and make Roy stop everything. And that's what he did on this shot, and it almost squeaked through Patrick Roy.
Patrick with a goals against average in this series of 1.37. And there's Jacques Demers, 1 win away from his first trip to the Stanley Cup Final. Turgeon on the draw. Canadiens come up with it. There's Denis Savard in the same spot as Jacques Demers, looking for his first ever Stanley Cup Final appearance, but it's still a big win away. Malakhov drills it in. Here's King's shot. That missed the target, but you can see the game plan developing for the Islanders. Get shots on. That shot deflects wide. Bullock after it. King's in front. Turgeon in the corner. Feeds the point. Dennis Vaske. His shot blocked by Savard. Nice play. Comes out to center.
We've seen a lot of that from the Canadiens, and even players that don't normally block shots. Denis Savard going down to block that shot from the point.
Malakhov, left wing pass, and back comes Derek King. At the line, he'll just flip it in now as the Islanders are completing the chain. Matthew Schneider dribbles it around the board. Gilbert Dionne flips it out at center ice. Uwe Krupp there for the Islanders. Gives off to Norton. Norton's pass intercepted, and John LeClair breaks with Brian Bellows. LeClair shoots. Didn't miss by much. And it comes all the way out to center. Uwe Krupp. Back pass. Dalgarno leaves it. Then it's Fitzgerald to the line. His shot blocked by J.J. Daigneault and sent back down into the Islanders' zone. The New York Islanders have never been swept in a Stanley Cup playoff series. 4 times they've been down 3-0, and all 4 times they've come up with a win in Game 4. Krupp pinching in. Here's Loiselle's side of the net, puts it out in front. Fitzgerald reaching for it. Backhand off the boards. It goes to Dalgarno, centers it. Kasparaitis has moved in. Watched by Muller. Dalgarno behind the net. Here it comes back. Loiselle's shot. Glove stop. Patrick Roy. Islanders putting on the pressure. Dalgarno. And Brisebois intercepted that and backhands the pass to Brian Bellows at his own line. Now Kirk Muller on the move. Drops it for LeClair. His shot misses the mark. And Dalgarno for the Islanders. Ahead to Pierre Turgeon. And Ronan back for Montreal. His shot blocked by Bellows. Brunet far side. Ronan was knocked flat by Bellows, and he is slow to get up. Kasparaitis. That's gloved down by Carbonneau. Brunet can't get the shot away, and here come the Islanders. Turgeon and Thomas. They crisscross outside the line. In for Thomas. Cross-ice pass. There's Baskey moving up. Baskey flips it to the goaltender, and Patrick Roy covers up. With 5:51 gone in the first period at the Coliseum. The Canadian zone won by the Islanders. Patrick Roy to the net, and watch out for Flatley. Flatley centers it, and it hit the leg and bounces right to Patrick Roy, who had to be alert as Hogue and Schneider push in behind the Canadiens netminder.
Chris, you're mentioning that impressive record the Islanders have of at least staying alive when they're down 3-0. The last time it was in 1985 in a best-of-7 against the Philadelphia Flyers. They won the 4th game here on home ice 6-2, and lost the 5th game in Philadelphia 1-0. That year of 1975, when they came back from down 3-0 against Pittsburgh, they were also down 3-0 against Philadelphia in the semifinals, came back to tie that series. The Flyers were extended to a 7th game to win it. They went on to win their 2nd straight cup.
Canadiens chop it off the boards down the ice, and Malakhov beats LeClair to the puck. No, LeClair with the steal, and he almost stuck it in the short side. Bellows along the boards. There's LeClair again. Hands it off to Muller. Sweeping behind the net, out in front. Healy deflects it away. Good shift here for LeClair along with Muller and Bellows, and now the Islanders come back. Benoît Hogue, Dennis Baskey. He sends it into the Canadian zone off the boards. Intercepted by Hogue. There's Ferraro. 13 goals in the playoffs. Ray Ferraro rolls it in. Hogue, give and go. And that was broken up by Mike Keane as they flip it to center.
Mike Keane did a good job. Stayed with Ferraro all the way.
Back comes Hogue, trying to slide it through. Ferraro. Uwe Krupp shot just wide. In behind the goal. Flatley looking to center it. Flatley still after it. And now Matt Schneider takes over. Ahead to Keane with Damphousse. Damphousse watched by Norton, spinning and knocked down, and here comes the first penalty of the game going against Jeff Norton. When we return, Canadiens go on the power play.
7-11 is a famous time here in this building. That was the time of Bob Nystrom's goal that won their first Stanley Cup. 7-11 the time of the first penalty. Norton for the hold on Damphousse.
Lots been made of the Islanders' ineffective power play in this series, but the Canadiens are 1 for 17 with the man advantage.
I think it's about time people started to give credit to the poor, unnoticed penalty killers and all. What the power play means so bad.
Here's Brian Bellows with a shot right on. Healy covers up, and Dick, that's exactly what Guy Carbonneau was talking about, and another crowd gathering in front of the Islander netminder.
Both teams making one change in their lineup as opposed to Game 3 a couple of nights ago. The Canadiens making a change on the forward line with Denis Savard in and Gary Leeman out of the lineup. Stefan Lebeau, who got the game-winning goal in OT in Game 2, is still absent because of his gimpy ankle. And as Chris mentioned, Jeff Norton is in, and Tom Kurvers is out on defense for New York. And right now, Jeff Norton's in the penalty box.
35 to go in the penalty as Kasparaitis clears it down the ice.
I thought the Montreal power play in Game 3 looked much better. They controlled the puck, and they did have some good scoring chances, but Glenn Healy was very sharp in the Islander net.
Here's Éric Desjardins sending it in. Healy tried to stop it behind the goal. Peel on to Flatley and back down for the Islanders. Desjardins and Haller are back. Damphousse and Bellows up front. And Kirk Muller cruising along the blue line as they send it in. Muller has it along the board. Haller in deep for the Canadiens. Here he comes, trying to get a shot away. Cleared by Vaski off the boards, and Mullen pounds it down the ice. Damphousse flipping it to the line, broken up by Fitzgerald. He sends it back down with 40 seconds to go. In the man advantage, Keane, rink wide. DiPietro gives chase, Healy. Kasparaitis. Now Krupp will try the other side, and Brisebois can't get across. 11-11 to go, first period, still no score. Canadiens in the late stages of a power play, trying to get inside the line. DiPietro knocked it free, but Hogue intercepts, and Benoît Hogue will kill the clock and send it down. Here's Keane. Rink wide, DiPietro, or Dionne after it, kept in by Keane. Pilon takes a hit, Kasparaitis has it now. And he sends it back down. This time it will be icing, the call against the Islanders, but they do a good job on the penalty kill.
Still no score, 9:23 into this one. Jacques Demers has been here before. This is the second time that he has been one victory away from coaching his team into the Stanley Cup final. He didn't make it the previous time, 1986. He was coaching St. Louis. They played Calgary in a 7th game at the Saddle Dome and lost. And Calgary went on to meet Montreal. Jacques telling me yesterday, talking about the Islanders, said they didn't give us many good scoring chances, meaning in Game 3, and indeed they did not.
And looking at Al Arbour, they didn't get many scoring chances. The Islanders didn't. The Canadiens did a good job defensively. And 1-0 going into the third, you had the feeling that it could end up in overtime.
10.5 minutes to go in the first period. Denis Vaski. Lead pass, Loiselle knocked it out of midair. And Malakhov to Turgeon with Thomas, the shot. And that deflects off a Canadian stick into the crowd.
Pierre Turgeon played very well in Game 3, but he missed the chance on the breakaway. And as much as the Islanders complained about the non-call on the too many men on the ice penalty, Turgeon blamed himself. He said he was trying to get too fine on Patrick Roy and fired it over top of the net. And Benoît Hogue had the nice reply. He said, well, at least his was closer than mine.
And instead, the man he's facing off against, Carbonneau, came up with the overtime goal, his second of these playoffs, the first 2 he's ever scored in Stanley Cup playoff competition. Uwe Krupp, right side for Thomas, and he sends it into the Canadian zone. King, it's his man, but Odelein gets it ahead on the right wing boards. And Krupp goes back for the Islanders. Talked about 75. Pierre Turgeon was 5 years of age when the Islanders came back to win that series after being down 3-0. Pass on the left wing off the skate of Derek King. And now Denis Savard will turn. Beats it ahead. Brunet takes a bump, clears it into the Islanders zone. Norton back to get it. Here's Thomas. Hogue turns back. Uwe Krupp. Lead pass to Norton. He flips it into the Canadian zone as the Islanders complete a change. Flatley off the boards, causing a turnover, but Desjardins recovers for the Canadiens ahead to Bélanger. Bélanger knocked down as he crossed the line by Baskey, and Malakhov takes over. The Russian defenseman outlets on the left wing to Benoît Hogue. He hits the line, drops it off. Here's Flatley, shot right on. Trying to deflect it was Ray Ferraro, but Patrick Roy holds on for a faceoff.
The Islanders out shooting the Canadiens 4-3, but once again they're getting that one shot. Patrick Roy controlling the rebounds, or the Montreal defense is clearing the zone in front, and the Islanders just can't get any rebounds.
Benoît Hogue on this faceoff against Bélanger. Canadiens win the draw. That's an area, John, they've dominated in the series, particularly Game 3. Kept in by Hogue. And Ferraro clears it back into the corner. There's Flatley behind the goal. His pass went off the back of the net. Hogue along the boards. Ferraro helping out. Flatley side of the net. Ferraro in front. Ray Ferraro. Ball down. What a stop. Rebound. Flatley doesn't get through. And Patrick Roy continues to stymie the New York Islanders. Icing the call as Malakhov was taken into the boards heavily by Dionne, and Ferraro after Gilbert Dionne.
And Dionne's getting a penalty. Away he goes.
You know, our friend Jerry was saying the other night, and I don't necessarily disagree with him about this icing rule. You get a lot of this. A lot of people talk about that. Maybe blow the whistle when it crosses the red line, because there's always that race for the puck, and we've seen some heavy collisions, some injuries result. And there's no question that Dionne tried to ride Malakhov in on this one. Healy was about to play the puck, then let it go because he saw Malakhov was going to win the foot race. The puck is in behind now past Healy, and Dionne with his hands on the body of Malakhov. And the defenseman from Russia is still down.
And now is Dionne going to get 5 minutes? He just might.
Gilbert Dionne, 2 minutes for charging.
2 minutes for charging.
First power play chance for Al Arbor's team right here. Now Kirk Muller questioning this, saying that was just a race and all of that, but Malakhov, who went off injured in Game 3 and was gone for about 15 minutes at one point in the game, is gone again. And Dionne is in the penalty box. Interesting that goals from the defense in this playoff, the total playoffs, the Islanders have 4 and Malakhov has 3 of them. But he is really on the limp, as you see, as he's being assisted into the Islanders dressing room area.
And you're out of control when you're going to touch that puck, and that's the thing. Now watch this save, Patrick Roy and Ray Ferraro. Ferraro does a good job. He waits, and look at Roy. He gets a glove up at the last minute to knock that one down, and that's another thing about Patrick Roy. It's never in. He never gives up on it. He was down and out, stuck the hand up, and made the save. Here we'll get another look at it, and watch Patrick Roy. He's down flat on his stomach, but he gets that left hand up, and that's how he makes the save.
Against the leading goal scorer in this year's playoffs. But there are the leading stats for goaltenders.
And that 9:32 second, but the other guy isn't involved anymore.
So the Islanders go to the power play. Norton lifts it to the front of the net, and Schneider knocks it down the ice. Exactly 8 minutes to go in the first period. Still no score. Norton and Krupp are the point men. Up front, it's Pierre Turgeon, David Bullock, and Brad Dalgarno. Uwe Krupp on the move. Behind the net, there's Bullock. Now Turgeon sets up. Krupp side of the net, and he whipped that shot wide. Nice setup by the Islanders, but the shot misses the target. Now Turgeon again feeds the point. Here's Norton across to Krupp. Brunet watching him, and the shot off target. Norton moving up. Odelein cleared it around the board. Stopped by Norton. Down he goes. Bullock. Turgeon can't get a shot away. Carbonneau now. And a minute to go in the power play.
Canadians played that pretty well. Carbonneau to Schneider. Then Schneider, with some time, got rid of the puck, but he tried to bank it off the glass. It went just a touch too high. So what happens? The faceoff's back in the Canadian zone. Almost worked.
The Islanders with the first good sustained pressure with their power play in about 2 games. Now here's a chance. Now Uwe Krupp sneaks in and just fires it wide. Patrick Roy comes across, but I don't think he would have got that one. Krupp just missed the net.
Well, the power play number's not good for the Islanders. They had 90 during the regular season, 90 goals, the second highest in Islander franchise history. Now Turgeon wins the draw, back it goes to Krupp. Flips the shot wide of the goal, Muller off the backboards, kept in at the point by Norton. Gets it to Steve Thomas. There's a shot that he hit the outside of the net. Some of the fans reacting. And Muller now at center ice. Tied up by Thomas. Hooked in front, and Krupp and Keane were jostling, and here come the Islanders. Steve Thomas down the right wing. Takes the shot, Norton following up. Behind the net, Turgeon under front, King, and he missed the net. Great chance there for Garrett King, who was knocked down in front. Out in front it comes again. Norton scrambles back to the point. Puts it around the boards. Thomas against Desjardins. Pinching in. There's King. Turgeon sets up behind the goal again. King knocked down again, side of the net. They try to jam it in front. Patrick Roy down to cover up.
Fans upset with that last takedown of King, but I thought Kirk Muller might have been a bit lucky not to be called on a penalty before that in that play around the Canadiens' crease when he cross-checked King down. Here's the last one with the play ending up at the post.
Patrick Roy clears it, but doesn't get it all the way to the corner, and then Pierre Turgeon tries to bank it in off Roy's skate. And Roy had it up tight against the post and makes the save. Patrick is playing with such confidence, and you look at the way he's handling the puck around the net and how cool he's been throughout these playoffs after Game 2 of the Quebec series.
I asked Jacques Demers, John, about his idea of when Patrick started to turn into his game around. He said he became more aggressive. That's what he thinks is the key to the way he has been playing through the last 3 weeks, or month, really, now.
Just 2 seconds left in the power play. And then Dionne will return to the ice. 6:18 remaining first period. Ferraro wins the draw. Vasky in the slot. Flatley missed it. Kasparaitis shooting short side. Out in front again. Ferraro shot it wide. Flatley along the boards. Has some room. Behind the goal, Ferraro. Kasparaitis! That hit a skate as he crept in from the point. So the Islanders making some plays. The shot's not getting through. Backs DiPietro with Damphousse and Daigneault. Shot blocked. Daigneault again. Hits the side of the net. That was close for the Canadiens, and Ferraro just clears it down the ice.
Oh, why coaches go gray? A 3-on-1, they don't get a shot on goal.
It ends up the defenseman handling the puck, the last man to handle the puck, and I know that forwards will never, ever throw it back to him again.
Vasky around the boards, kept in at the line. In behind the net, Damphousse by himself. Now Krupp's there, and he knocks him down. DiPietro tied up by Fitzgerald. Bellows along the boards. He's watched by Krupp. Fitzgerald for the Islanders off the glass and over the glass out of play.
Daigneault was that defenseman, John, that you mentioned, had the chance with the pass back to Daigneault on the 3-on-1 rush. His shot was blocked, and the second shot following in after the block shot hit the side of the net.
And you can see Rich Pilon, he plays it well. As soon as Daigneault tries to shoot, Pilon lines himself up directly and blocks it. And by the time Daigneault had the second shot, he was past the goal line. And Pilon guessed right as Daigneault decided he was in the middle. He was going to take the shot.
Pilon's made a couple of good plays, and I took by Keane out front of the net on a nice play over to Keane by Kirk Muller with the side of the net wide open.
Fitzgerald wins the face-off for the Islanders. And Jeff Norton, who's taken a regular turn in the first period, dumps it out at center ice. Desjardins for the Canadiens. Pass to an open wing. There's Fitzgerald for the Islanders, but Dionne takes it away ahead to Jesse Bélanger. Denis Savard after it, but it comes out to center. Desjardins fell down on the play, but backing him up is Holler. Savard, nice pass, and it's broken up. Dionne gets another chance. Gilbert Dionne. Savard flipped it. Oh, what a stop by Healy, as Denis Savard was looking for his first goal of these Stanley Cup playoffs.
You put the hex on Rich Pilon, Dick. He makes a good play and then blows a tire. And that sets up the chance. Dionne to Savard, but he doesn't get a whole lot on it. Glenn Healy gets his glove up, and he makes a great save.
So it's my fault.
That's right.
Shots are 7-4 in favor of the Islanders. Still no score. First period in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship Series. With 4:25 to go. Here's David Volek's shot right on. And Patrick Roy covers that.
Again, Patrick Roy able to see that shot all the way as the Canadians did a good job after the turnover. Canadians turn it over right here to David Volek. Look at the kick up right onto Volek's stick. But Roy sees it all the way and makes the save. Here's another look. After the turnover, Brisebois kicked it up. David Volek gets it. And Roy has been controlling the rebound so well throughout this series. During the regular season, they were cheering when they announced the scratches. David Volek was one of them. Well, he got that big goal against Pittsburgh, and now he's the most popular player among the Islanders.
Well, just 8 goals during the regular season, and they had high hopes for him in his rookie year. 25 goals. Baskey's shot from the point doesn't get through. And Odelein off the glass and down the ice. And a race for it. Healy will come out and play it around on the far boards to Ferraro. Andre Ferraro, he broke his nose again in Game 3 when he took that shot from Keane. He says, I'm not sure. It's been broken so often, I don't know anymore. He says it's been broken at least 6 or 7 times. Not sure whether it's just a cartilage moving around now or a broken nose. But he says it's painful. Here's Ferraro at center ice, flipping it forward. And Flatley to an open wing, but the Islanders are on a change. Ryan Bellows back for the Canadiens. He sends it in, and Healy leaves it for Norton. Yep, Norton straight up the ice, and knocked down with Brisebois. We've got a penalty coming up against the Islanders.
Now Ray Ferraro right at the blue line. Looks like tripping will be the call by Marawelli. Maybe Ferraro was trying to run one of those famous picks, and it did not quite work. Vladimir Malakhov, the Islander defenseman, still in the dressing room, and Éric Desjardins, the Montreal defenseman, has gone to the Canadiens dressing room. There it is, you see left of your screen, right at the blue line. Down goes Brisebois. So with 3:28 left here in this first period, the Canadiens get their second power play opportunity of the night.
I wonder if they had it like basketball where you're standing still, you don't get the penalty. That looked to me like Brisebois skated backwards into Ray Ferraro, who was just standing there. He didn't get out of the way, but it didn't seem like he moved very much to trip up Brisebois.
So as you mentioned, Dick, we saw those stats. The Islander penalty killers have done a good job in this series. And they have the puck now. Krupp sends them back in their own zone. DiPietro, Damphousse up front. Kevin Haller and Patrice Brisebois on the points. Brisebois +5 in this series, +10 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Healy out of the net. Around the glass, kept in by Haller. Back in deep, Damphousse centers it, and Healy knocked it away, and in turn, the net gets knocked off, and Brian Mullen's on top of DiPietro.
DiPietro going to the net on the power play, and that's one of the things Canadians are trying to do as Glenn Healy tips the pass out, and then DiPietro's hit by Mullen, goes into Healy, and Healy didn't like it, and Mullen didn't like it. DiPietro did that in Game 3, took Glenn Healy out with a good solid hit, tried to do it again.
Closed captioning for tonight's game is sponsored by Household, providing Canadians with a family of financial services.
Face-off still in the Islanders' zone, and Éric Desjardins just had his skates done, back out on the Canadiens' bench.
And 1:31 to go in this Canadiens power play. 2:59 remaining in the scoreless first period of Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship. Islanders winning another draw. They've been better in that department so far in Game 4. And back to get it is Schneider. And Schneider at center. And then it goes to Damphousse. Can't handle it, and Baskey sends them back. Muller, Damphousse, Bellows up front for the Canadiens. Now down to a minute to go in the power play. Flatley knocks it to the line. Brisebois across to Schneider. He clears it in behind the goal. There's Bellows and Damphousse. Off of Mullen, and Mullen will skate out with it. Up ahead to Flatley, one-on-one against Brisebois. Patrick Flatley with the move has Kasparaitis along with him, but couldn't get it across. Now exactly 2 minutes to go in the period. Damphousse back to Brisebois. Cross ice it goes to Schneider. Into the corner, Muller bumped by Kasparaitis. He clears it to the point, but not out. Schneider's there. Loose puck, Kasparaitis after it. Can't get it out. Schneider keeps it in. Flips it into the air. Empty line. Backhands it this time over Schneider and down the ice. 9 seconds of this power play, and the Canadiens changing up. So are the Islanders. 90 seconds to go in the period. And Ferraro back on the ice. So the Islanders kill another Canadian power play. Benoît Brunet out at center. Here's Ed Ronan. Ronan hits the line. Norton watching him. And the Islanders break it up and start back with Turgeon. King on the right wing. Here, Turgeon to the line. And Turgeon checked nicely by Carbonneau. Norton flips it back in. And now we're down to a minute left in the first period.
1 minute.
And play whistle down as we join Steve Arminen.
Flashing penalty in behind the play. After the Canadiens just dumped it out of the zone, Thomas takes a penalty, and the Islanders a little frustrated. There it is right there on Kevin Haller, and you can see just above the gloves. And Thomas goes off for slashing.
And so just after killing off the penalty, the Islanders will have to do it again, and the Canadiens get a chance to score a late goal here in this first period. If they can get their power play untracked. Muller, Bellows, Damphousse, Desjardins back on the ice, and Schneider. Fitzgerald is a penalty killer for the Islanders, along with Hogue, who will be Steve's guest in our first intermission. Baskey along the boards against Damphousse, who works it free. Krupp helping out around the board. Schneider keeps it in. Nice play at the left point. Now Krupp gets a second chance, and he'll skate out with it. Here come the Islanders. Fitzgerald to the line. Fitzgerald shot high, but it was offside at the blue line.
Well, the play Mathieu Schneider made, John, almost caught the Canadiens flat-footed as he was caught up the ice. Fitzgerald with a couple of goals in one game against Pittsburgh while killing a penalty. But the whole thing for naught with the offside call.
And here's Fitzgerald bringing it in. Does Benoît Hogue drag that back foot over? Yes, he does. Kevin Collins right on the line to make the call, and it was a 3-on-2. Good scoring chance for the New York Islanders, negated by that offside. We look at Kevin Collins, and the linesman and the referee, after that too many men on the ice penalty, were taking an awful lot of heat from everybody, the media, coaching staff of the Islanders, and the fans.
Well, Jacques Demers didn't help their cause by saying, yes, we did have too many men on the ice.
He also said the Islanders were guilty of the same offense earlier in the game, but certainly not at that critical moment. Icing the call against the Canadiens. 16.7 seconds to go in the period. The fans on the commuter train we were on yesterday here in Long Island were still upset about the call that wasn't made on the too many men.
Well, I'll tell you who is here watching these games. Frank Udbury. He's a Hall of Fame official, worked in the NHL in the 50s and 60s, became a supervisor of officials, and he smiled when all this was going on. He said, I'll tell you one thing, nothing's changed at playoff time. He went through that sort of thing many, many times himself, and many, many other coaches over the years.
On the face-off, Canadiens get possession, but they'll have to hustle to get it down in the Islanders zone here as the clock ticking away here. Late in the first period, Damphousse to Muller. Kasparaitis watching him as they go to the boards. And Mullen will get a chance to just skate it out and end the first period.
And the penalty killing of the New York Islanders doing a good job, but they can't take foolish penalties, and they've taken 3, and of the 3, at least 2 of them were undisciplined penalties. Selfish, foolish ones. and you're trying to get back into this series. You're trying to play it period by period, and you can't play the periods short-handed.
It's 0-0. Both goaltenders with really heart-stopping saves. Patrick Roy off Ferraro and Glenn Healy off Denis Savard. Big reasons why we haven't had a goal scored in this game yet.
And the shots on goal in the first period, 8-4 in favor of the New York Islanders. The score after 20 minutes here at the Nassau Coliseum. The Canadiens nothing, the Islanders nothing.
They only dressed 6 tonight, too, as they have throughout this series. And Jeff Norton, who is in mainly for the power play, will have to play a regular shift.
And the Islanders will start the second period. Still a man short with Steve Thomas in the penalty box for 65 seconds more. And so Muller starts with Bellows and Damphousse. Schneider and Brisebois on the points. It's Fitzgerald, Hogue, Kasparaitis, and Keane for the Islanders. Brisebois sends it in. Healy stops it behind the goal, and there's Rich Keane. Outlets it, and Hogue sends it to center ice. Bellows to the line. Damphousse on the right side, checked by Kasparaitis, and Kasparaitis can't get it out. Kept in. Brisebois shot. Healy down. Damphousse back to the point. Schneider drilled it high. Close call there as the Canadiens threatened, and Belon now to Fitzgerald, and out of midair he gets it into the center ice zone. Muller. Here's Damphousse back in, and he shot wide by a couple of feet. Hogue along the boards. Clears it away.
Two great scoring chances early for the Canadiens. Glenn Healy with a good save on the deflection, but then Damphousse, and he didn't miss by inches. He missed by about 2 feet.
And the Islanders now back at full strength. Bullock sends it towards the net, knocked down, and Bullock was knocked down. Here's Damphousse starting back with Muller. 2-on-2 at the line. Muller goes to the net. Vaske watching Damphousse, and now Krupp around the boards. Keane waits for it. Thomas got there first, but kept in by Daigneault. Kicked away by Healy. Vaske and Muller against the boards. Krupp and Damphousse, and it's Krupp up with it. On this near side for Turgeon, and he deflects it past Daigneault out to center. Lead pass, and it's DiPietro flipping it in. Dionne in the corner. Out to Keane. Keane in front. DiPietro swiped at it, but Bullock was there for the Islanders. And now Vaske puts it into the crowd out of play.
Now we talk about tradition here. I don't think young hockey players really appreciate tradition of a franchise the way they used to, but I'll tell you, the Islanders still have a lot of them hanging around doing things one way or the other who contributed a lot to this team and to their glory years. Brian Trottier, vice president with the club now after retiring last year from the Penguins. Lauren Henning is an assistant coach. Billy Smith's around as the goalie coach. Butch Goring coached their American League team this year. Ken Morrow is head of their scouting, and you've got Anders Kallur, Gordy Lane, their scouts. Bob Nystrom just down the way from us here doing radio for their home games, as he always does, and he works in their office. Eddie Westfall's their television announcer.
There's Billy Smith, Goring, Darcy Rieger, and Don Maloney, who was also an Islander. Rieger was in the Islanders system. He's the assistant general manager, and Don Maloney, who wasn't involved in the Stanley Cup years, but was an Islander, now the general manager.
DiPietro wins the draw for Montreal. Odelein at the point, flips it towards the goal. Healy with the blocker. And up the boards it comes for Ferraro, looking for Flatley. Flatley against Odelein. Flatley controls the boards. The pass to Kasparaitis. He does get it and takes a hit from DiPietro. Dionne starts back for Montreal. Gilbert Dionne shot. That's off the mark. Odelein will keep it in for the Canadiens. Dionne behind the net, centers it. Here's Keane, and a back pass, broken up, and back come the Islanders. Norton to Fitzgerald at the line. Daigneault falls down on the play. Ferraro looking to center it. Fitzgerald gloves it down. Odelein there for the Canadiens, kept in by Fitzgerald to Ferraro. Back in for Flatley. Flatley centers it. Dionne can't clear it out. Belon backhands it behind the goal. Ferraro after it. Flatley and Daigneault tied up, and the Canadiens will skate out. Left wing pass for Dionne. Cross ice, and DiPietro sends it in and heads to the bench. Full change by the Canadiens, and that draws a reaction from the fans. Steve Thomas. There's a shot blocked, and that hurt Kevin Haller. I think every time the Canadians have any traffic in front of the bench tonight, the fans will be yelling for too many men on the ice.
It's amazing the number of shots blocked already by the Canadiens' defense and forwards. That time, Kevin Haller with a good block.
There's Marty McInnis out at center ice for Steve Thomas, scooting to the line. Haller up, and he makes the check, and offside is the call. 3:36 gone, second period. Still no score at Nassau Coliseum.
Crowd was hollering for a penalty right here. J.J. Daigneault and Pat Flatley, and you can see Daigneault's already lost his helmet. He and Flatley could have probably been coincidental minors for roughing on that play.
Boy, Flatley is strong along the boards. Just like his old Canadian Olympic teammate Kirk Muller. Kasparaitis goes back for the Islanders. Now Uwe Krupp. Thomas is hit as he reached for the pass, and we've got a penalty coming up.
Steve Thomas took a run at Matt Schneider, and Schneider, I guess, retaliated. They both went up against the boards, and so the Canadiens draw a penalty, and the Islanders get their second power play chance. The Montreal Canadiens looking at doing something tonight no other team has done in playoff history, win 12 consecutive games in the same year. The Oilers won 12 over 2 years in a row. So there's Schneider, gone for 2. Pretty good power play, John, the last time that the Islanders had the puck. You remarked on it. They had some pretty good chances in the Canadiens first period.
But they were shooting wide from in close and trying to get too fine. And when you run up against a hot goaltender like Patrick Roy, you do that. You know that he's going to make the saves on the easy one, so you try and bank everything in off the post. And they're shooting wide. They should start to go for the middle of the net again.
On that last shift, Arbor took Turgeon away from the checking of Guy Carbonneau, so Turgeon is fresh. His line mate stayed on. He went off. He's out here in the power play.
Turgeon, Bollock, Dalgarno, Krupp, and Norton for the Islanders. There's Bollock along the boards. Keane watching him. And now Desjardins to try to get it to Turgeon, who deflected it in front, but the Canadiens clear to center. And Jeff Norton back to get it there. He had 12 goals during the regular season. Here Kirk Muller with the steal, and Bollock had to come back and make a good defensive play. Now the Islanders go to the attack. Here's Pierre Turgeon dropping it off, and Mike Keane was there. And he sends the Islanders back down the ice with 1:20 to go in the penalty. Norton to center, flipping it in. Steve Thomas after it against Daigneault. Carbonneau intercepts the pass and flips it over the glass out of play.
Well, we talked about Guy Carbonneau off the top of the show. One of the 2 players left from the Canadiens' last Stanley Cup winning team. 3-time winner of the Selke Trophy. His 3rd time was last season, 1 year ago. 32 years of age. Winding down, perhaps, but certainly coming to life in the playoffs compared to how he played throughout most of what was really an injury-plagued season for him. He's been a durable performer over the years, but in the last couple, he's had some injury problems. But he has played some fine hockey for Montreal in this playoff year.
Well, the fans making noise here, trying to encourage this power play, which is down to 10% in the playoff. Ferraro wins the draw. Norton at the point. Uwe Krupp shot. That one blocked by Brunet. And now there's a race for it. Krupp will get there ahead of Benoît Brunet. But again, John, these shots aren't getting through. The Canadiens seem to have a forest of legs in front of Patrick Roy. And an offside at the line.
You watch the really good point men on the power play. That's the one thing they do, is get it by the first guy who comes out. And the Islanders, Tom Kerbers the other night, was shooting it off Mike Keane all night, and that time Uwe Krupp let it go and went right into the Canadian shin pads.
46 seconds remaining in the Islander power play. And Hogue out there now with Thomas and Ferraro, Norton and Vaski. Kirk Muller for the Canadiens. And now the Islanders have it off the skate of Vaski, and Lyle Odelein on the move for Montreal, flipping it in. Still scoreless. 5.5 minutes into this second period. And Muller forechecking for the Canadiens. Gets it out to Keane. Ferraro with 22 seconds left in the power play now skates out for New York. Ferraro hits the line, lost control of it. Odelein to Daigneault and back down the ice. And the power play goes under 10%. You've really got a problem. Or you've got great penalty killing. Here's Hogue. Benoît Hogue centers, Thomas shot. Patrick Wall to save it, another. And he'll cover up as Ferraro is flattened at the side of the net.
John, the beat goes on for the guy in the goal crease for Montreal. Boy, what stops he has made tonight. 2 more right there.
And you can see even he's shaking his head as he came sliding across. And he's in the right spot on this one. The first shot is a good save right here. He sees it, it bounces off 2 pairs of skates, but look at this one. Comes across on Jeff Norton, and the puck ends up lying right in his pads. And look at the save, 3 bounces here. 1 tip, 2 tips, and then to Patrick Waugh. Jeff Norton has the rebound, and Waugh is so quick getting across, he's able to make that save.
And after that scramble in front of the Canadiens netminder, the penalty came to an end. And so the Canadiens back at full strength. 10 saves tonight, but he's made 3 or 4 big ones. Desjardins skating out to center ice for Montreal. Clears it in. There's Keane, first man to it, and DiPietro going to the net. Damphousse looks for a loose puck. Shot. DiPietro scores. Paul DiPietro with his first goal on the road in these playoffs, and the Canadiens lead 1-0.
Well, Jacques Demers talking to me yesterday about DiPietro, telling me that he has added that new dimension, or a dimension to the team, his legs, his hustle, and he's added some goals, and that's his 6th in the playoffs, and who would have thought that?
We talk about rebounds and how the Canadiens clear. Watch this. Glenn Healy makes 1 save there, makes a 2nd save. Look at DiPietro circle around behind the net. And then he comes out. He's wide open on the 3rd rebound. DiPietro starts the play right here, and watch him go behind the net and come out. And right here he comes out against Darius Kasparaitis, gets his stick on it, and beats Glenn Healy.
You know, you almost look for a turnaround there, John. That was really a bad power play for the Islanders, except for that last chance just as the penalty ended. And the Canadiens come right back. Interesting part of this game.
Mike Keane and Vincent Damphousse both get assists on DiPietro's 6th of the playoffs at 6:22. Rocky 6 now, and the Canadiens with a 1-0 lead in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship. DiPietro telling me this morning he just watches the veterans, every move they make, and learns so much from them. Part of the tradition of playing in Montreal. Turgeon with a nice move here. Turgeon shot, rolled through, loose puck. And Odelein back for the Canadiens. His pass broken up by Vaski. Uwe Krupp back in for the Islanders. Turgeon jumped in ahead of the play.
Turgeon was expecting that pass from Uwe Krupp, and Krupp has signed a long-term contract with the Islanders, was offered a contract to return to Germany. He's a player that can be dominant, but a bigger man, and he does get tired quickly. And using only 5 defensemen like Al Arbour has to now with Malakhov in the dressing room, Uwe Krupp has got the short shifts going.
You know, you mentioned from Germany, United Nations headquarters over Manhattan, not too far from here. This series is kind of representative, especially the Islanders. In addition to their complement of a dozen or so Canadian players, they have 7 Americans, players from Russia, Lithuania, Germany, and the former Czechoslovakia, all on their official playoff roster.
J.J. Daigneault for the Canadiens. Ferraro watching him. Jesse Bélanger out for Montreal with Denis Savard and Gilbert Dionne. Flatley for the Islanders. Ray Ferraro and Benoît Hogue. Brisebois beats it ahead. Pass for Savard, and his skates try to return the pass to Bélanger. Broken up by Ferraro. Ray Ferraro without a goal now for a couple of games. That's his longest drought of the playoffs. Dionne ahead to Savard. Denis Savard cuts to the middle. Drops it off. Here's Daigneault's shot. That hit Gilbert Dionne in front. Hogue clears to the line and out. Daigneault on the right side for Bélanger. Norton there, and the Canadiens will change up as Norton turns. Right wing pass for Flatley. Lead pass left side. Ferraro called on the offside as Ray Ferraro was bursting in.
Well, again, we remind you of the Canadiens' rather remarkable record in this building going back to October '88. The last time they were beaten, 8 games, including 1 playoff game, 7-0-1.
And they have the lead here with 8 minutes gone in the second period. Fitzgerald inside the line. Loiselle back to Fitzgerald. In behind the net, Loiselle has it, looking to center, but he's tied up by Desjardins. Fitzgerald helping out. Off the boards, Dalgarno. This pass hit a skate, and the Canadiens will come out led by Ed Ronan. Holler jumping up into the play as well. He hits the line. Back to Ronan behind him. And Loiselle took it away for the Islanders. Dalgarno to Fitzgerald. Hitting the line, dropping it off. Loiselle's shot. A pad save by Patrick Roy. Benoît Brunet starts back for Montreal. Leaves it for Ronan. His shot deflects behind the goal. Brunet lost it. And Krupp takes over. A hit to Thomas. Islanders out at center ice. Pierre Turgeon to the line. Cross ice. King tied up by Keane. Now Thomas behind the goal. Pierre Turgeon trying to center it. And it comes to Damphousse and back out breaks Montreal. Keane. DiPietro the goal scorer. Watched by Krupp. Damphousse behind the goal. Comes up with it. Here's Vincent Damphousse. Checked by Thomas. It goes right to Odelein. Shot on, and Healy covers up.
Playoff action continues tomorrow on CBC television with Game 4 from the Campbell Conference Final in Inglewood, California. The Kings go into that one with a 2-1 series lead over the Leafs. The action starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. And if necessary, the Canadiens and Islanders will play Game 5 in a Wales Conference Championship Final on Monday. That one is a 7:30 start Eastern, 4:30 Pacific.
Dick, you were commenting on the increase in Canadian shirts here at the Nassau Coliseum. After they won Game 3, seemed to be an awful lot more Canadian shirts here for Game 4.
I talked to that chap in the middle wearing the Canadian white uniform before the game. He stopped me. I said, don't get in any trouble tonight. Seems that he's having a good time anyway so far.
10:40 to go, second period. And Montreal leading 1-0. DiPietro the goal scorer on the faceoff. And the Islanders come up with it. Kasparaitis ahead to Ferraro. It's watched by Damphousse, and taking over is Mathieu Schneider, wheeling away for the Canadiens. Over the red line and back into the Islander zone. Kasparaitis around the boards. There's Ferraro waiting for it. He hands it off, and Benoît Hogue has a man open. McInnis in front. Steered away with the stick of Patrick Roy. Close call there for the Islanders, and now back breaks Montreal. Schneider has DiPietro open. Mathieu Schneider in. Oh, and he just missed on the far side. All the way out to center ice. 10 minutes to go now. Second period at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. 1-0 Montreal. Kasparaitis up the boards for McInnis. In the middle for Hogue. Trailing is Ferraro. Behind the goal, and now LeClair up the boards and out to center ice. Elon, lead pass. There's Hogue. Rink wide, Ferraro. And he's checked by Daigneault. Canadians start back. Muller. He's checked. LeClair following up. Sends it into the Islander zone.
3-1, 3-1.
Norton. Up ahead, Loiselle, right wing, Flatley, just a stride too far. Daigneault turning. Flatley watching him. Brisebois takes a hit, but gets it ahead to LeClair. Rink wide pass cut off by Mullen. And Brian Mullen flips it back into the Canadian zone. Loiselle missed Daigneault with the check. Baskey off the stick of Loiselle back into the zone. And now Brisebois clears it into the Islander territory. Baskey back to get it. And the Canadiens make a full change. Ahead it goes off the stick of Flatley down into the Montreal zone. Desjardins gets there first, so icing the call against the New York Islanders, who trail by 1 in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship.
Now today in history, Mark Messier set a record 6 years ago, the third game of the final series, the Oilers and the Flyers in Philadelphia, his 8th playoff shorthanded goal.
Carbonneau wins the face-off from Turgeon. Here's Brunet, shot right on, and Healy covers up.
Glenn Healy had trouble with that shot, and again, right from a face-off, as he was coming across, Brunet let the shot go, and that one almost squeaked through. Healy just got the legs together in time. Montreal again winning the draw, and you can see the Islanders' coverage here as they get taken out of the play. Comes across, and look at Brunet. Wide open, lets it go quickly, and Healy just barely gets the legs closed.
And again, we see Turgeon leaving against Carbonneau, and Al Arbor sends out Tom Fitzgerald to take his place. It's the second time that's happened in this period.
You know, Dick, it's interesting to hear many of the Canadians remark on how improved Turgeon is as a player from his days in Buffalo as Ronan gets the shot on. And Norton sends it deep into the Canadian zone. Patrick Roy to the net. Dalgarno was bumped there. Fitzgerald in the corner. Comes back to the point and hops over the stick of Kasparaitis. Jeff Norton seeing a lot of ice time in his return to the Islanders lineup. First time in this series. First time since Game 5 of the Patrick final against Pittsburgh. Kasparaitis gets it out to Brad Dalgarno and ahead to David Bullock. Here's Bullock to the line. Trying to cut it in. Kasparaitis follows up to Bullock. Tied up by Dionne. Stays with it. And now it's cleared by Odelein without a helmet down the ice.
Gilbert Dionne came off the bench. The Canadians had a terrible line change. When he came on, the Islanders had the puck at the Montreal line. So in effect, the Canadians were shorthanded. For the amount of time it took Dionne to get into the play, and when he did, he arrived at the right place at the right time and made the defensive save.
And another one of those line changes. Now watch the Canadians right here. Are we going to change or are we not going to change? They're jumping over the boards like they are, and then finally decide that they will make the change. And you never change when the play is headed in the other direction. And watch this. Here's the line change you're talking about, Dick. Oh, here comes Dionne. And David Bullock's there, wide open. Dionne just got to him in time.
Gilbert was saying he talked to older brother Marcel a few days ago, who played 16 years without a cup, and Marcel said, I don't have any advice for you because I've never been that far.
Well, Chris, you talk about the Canadians mentioning Turgeon, but the Canadians talk about the entire Islander team. They have been in 3 very tough hockey games against this club, and they will tell you that they're a very difficult team to play against. For the scores. I mean, are we ever going to get a shootout, you and I, Chris? We haven't had many of those in the month and a few days that you and I have been working this playoff run.
Unless Pittsburgh and the Islanders were involved. There's Turgeon. The King. What King would like to get on track. 3 goals this year. In fact, 3 goals in 25 playoff games lifetime. Steve Thomas turning against Muller. Came out in front. And the Canadians are able to clear it. Bellows sends it in for the Canadians. Healy out of the goal. Up with LeClair. He was bumped and knocked down. Baskey over to Turgeon. Up ahead to King and off his skate. Return pass from Krupp, and here's Thomas on the left wing. His shot blocked. Krupp going in deep. Thomas behind the goal. Coming out in front. The shot scores! Short side. Steve Thomas.
Involved in the play. He hit John LeClair as the play moved up toward the Canadian zone. He lost his helmet back in the Montreal end of the rink, and up came the rush. And John, the Islanders needed that. They needed something to get this crowd going, to get them going.
And Steve Thomas has been shooting from everywhere. Look at this shot. Patrick Roy didn't fall down at all. He didn't collapse. There's not much room there, and Thomas hits it. Watch Thomas. Look at that little space up above Patrick Roy's shoulder, and that's where Thomas hits.
And Dick, if memory serves me correctly, he scored a very similar goal in Game 6 against Pittsburgh on Tom Barrasso, coming from behind the net. So let's see what kind of a lift that gives the Islanders now that it's tied 1-1. go after it with Kasparaitis, but it's cleared by Denis Savard back out to center. Time of the goal, 13-14. Steve Thomas with his 8th of the playoffs, 2nd in this series. And the assists on the goal go to Krupp and King. So, John, you mentioned they need more production out of Thomas and King, and they combine there.
Thomas has been shooting from everywhere tonight. He's making Patrick Roy stop, but that time he didn't even look and picked a little spot just above Roy's shoulder.
Here's Hogue inside the line. Nice move. Benoît Hogue splitting the defense. And Patrick Roy knocked down in the net. Roy is down, and play whistled down. Haller going after Ferraro. Hogue is there, and he draws a crowd as well. It was Hogue who went through, and I'm not sure if it was he or Ferraro that ended up knocking down the Canadian netminder.
Andre Rasico is the backup. He came into a game in Quebec, Game 5, when Roy took a shot on the shoulder and had to leave the game. This time, it's the contact in the goal crease, John.
And the way Patrick's been playing, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of this, Dick. I'm surprised the Islanders haven't tried to get in his face a little more and make a little more contact. We saw so much in the Leafs-St. Louis series when both goaltenders were playing well. The Canadians have been trying to get to Glenn Healy. And there you see Hogue, much like Paul DiPietro on Glenn Healy. He's pushed, but he makes sure that he makes contact with the goaltender. Now watch Hogue, nice move. He's pushed, but look at him look up. And yes, he makes sure that he makes contact with Patrick Roy.
Well, Roy shaking it off. He never did take his mask off. He might look at it again. Top of the rink camera. And the Islander forward, as the defense sort of leaves him, follows through, as John points out.
And Patrick, being the veteran goaltender, might try and slow things down here and give the crowd time to keep quiet as Steve Thomas's 8th goal. And what a great shot that was to beat Patrick Roy.
And the goal came sort of, there was a quiet time in the game. Nothing was happening. Exactly what Montreal wanted to have going on. The Islanders weren't going anywhere. The crowd was out of it. Now it's a different story.
Well, Dick, we may not get many shootouts, but it's like this one is going to be another in a long line of games that go right down to the wire. Krupp, cross ice pass, and here come the Islanders again. Dalgarno hit Volek up in the shin pads, and Damphousse gets rid of it at center ice. David Volek with a move against Damphousse, and Keane helps out for Montreal. Up to Damphousse at the line. DiPietro, he's bumped off the puck by Big Dalgarno. And a play whistle down, and Dalgarno is going to get a penalty.
And maybe he's lucky Marawali didn't see the signal he gave him when Marawali's back was turned, or he might have got another one for unsportsmanlike conduct. Things starting to happen in this hockey game. Here's the hit along the boards. And the call made, and the Islanders are shorthanded with Dalgarno gone for 2. And here's what I mean. See that? Salute after a fashion. But by that time, Marawali was skating toward the box to make the call. Wait a minute here.
It was a high sticking penalty, and I agree with you, Dick. It almost was an unsportsmanlike penalty. Dan Marawali had his back skating to the penalty box and called the high sticking penalty. I thought he might go for the unsportsmanlike, but he didn't turn around in time, and Dalgarno got away with it.
So the Canadians send out Muller with Bellows, Damphousse, Brisebois, and Schneider. And Tom Fitzgerald will take the draw for the Islanders. 5:14 to go, second period. And a 1-1 tie. Hogue, the other penalty killer for the Islanders, was Kasparaitis and Pilon on defense. On the face-off, Canadians keep it in at the line. Off Damphousse, he can't find it. Pilon on it. Fitzgerald backhands it out. Brisebois behind his net to set up. Here's Kirk Muller to the line. Bellows, watched by Kasparaitis. Damphousse chops it around the boards. Schneider won't be able to keep it in. Schneider now rink wide. There's Muller and Damphousse. Bellows is in front. Back at the point, Brisebois takes the return pass. Schneider near side. Wrist shot. Healy got a piece of that. Kept in by Brisebois. Muller lets it go. Bellows takes a look and beats Schneider. There's the shot, and that deflected just wide off Kirk Muller. Belon taken down behind the net. Kasparaitis up with it under a minute to go now in the Canadiens power play.
Good chance for Kirk Muller. He deflected that long point shot, but he deflected it back, and it just missed the net.
45 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Desjardins to the line. There's Keane dropping it off for Haller. Kevin Haller in behind the goal. Keane to DiPietro. DiPietro along the boards. Gilbert Dionne near the point man. Canadiens keep it in. Haller. Watched by Flatley. Flatley ties him up. Canadiens keep it alive. Dionne knocked down behind the play. Here's Desjardins rolling puck. Loose puck, DiPietro. And Healy with the stop, and Krupp in behind Healy. Knocked the loose puck away.
And two Canadiens in behind the Islanders' defense, but Glenn Healy kept the puck out.
Dying seconds of the power play. Mike Keane bumped, and they clear it out as Dalgarno returns to the ice. So the Islanders' penalty killing remains perfect tonight. Dalgarno intercepts the pass and clears it in on the Canadiens' netminder with 3 minutes to go. Second period, a 1-1 tie. DiPietro and Thomas, the goal scorers. Pilon sends it back into the Montreal zone. Derek Keane bumping Patrick Roy, and that draws a crowd, and Desjardins bumping on King. Knocked down in front was Thomas by Daigneault, and Carbonneau starts back. 2-on-1 with Gilbert Dionne, and Pilon broke it up nicely. That's Rich Pilon's second big play on an outman situation in this game.
And again, a Canadiens 2-on-1. Good pressure by the Islanders. They went down looking for a penalty, didn't get it, and the Canadiens had an outman situation.
Kasparaitis backhands it to center. Now we'll get it back again. 2:15 to go. Second period. Kasparaitis with a lead pass. There's King to Turgeon. Islanders breaking, but Turgeon's pass was cut off by Schneider. And now exactly 2 minutes to go as Kasparaitis touches it, icing the call against Montreal.
Canadiens' best chance on their power play came from Kirk Muller. Watch him time this perfectly. Go to the front of the net, tip the puck back, and it just missed the post.
Canadiens have outshot the Islanders 12-6 in the second period, 16-14 overall, but we're tied at 1. There's Bullock along the boards, gives it to Dalgarno in front. Ferraro couldn't get his stick on it. Now LeClair wraps it behind his goal and around the boards. Brian Bellows has it there. Bellows out to Muller at center. LeClair breaking on the left wing as they gain the Islanders zone. Kirk Muller trying to shovel it out in front. One hand on the stick, and Norton knocks him down. Norton falls on the puck and gloves it away to Ferraro. LeClair on him. 1:20 left in the second period. Ferraro clears it around the boards. Bellows there for the Canadiens. John LeClair, Muller in front. They try and jam it. Healy down, and he'll cover. And to preview our second intermission, here again, Steve Armitage.
Don't do that show from the basement of their house.
I'll tell you what, it's terrific. These guys are pretty good. McKenzie brothers, look out.
Ray Ferraro talking things over with Brad Dalgarno. The Canadiens' coverage in their own zone is pretty good. And Dalgarno threw a pass to Ferraro, and Mathieu Schneider was all over him. And I think that's probably what Ferraro is saying. Don't bother throwing it, as the guy's got me all tied up.
Talking about the Islanders' plight this morning, Ray said, we just have to concentrate on winning tonight so we get a chance to play Monday. Thinking about 4 wins, just a little too much at this point for the Islanders. Under a minute to go in in the second period. A 1-1 tie. DiPietro opened the scoring, but Steve Thomas evened the count for the Islanders. Brisebois in his own zone. There's Damphousse. Long lead pass, Keane at center against Vaski. And Vaski comes up with it. Now Damphousse in trying to steal it. They turn it over. Keane, watched by Fitzgerald. DiPietro in there, so is Pilon. And Pilon knocks it free. Under a half minute to go, and the Islanders break out with Hogue. Right side for Flatley. Patrick Flatley centers it. Fitzgerald shot, loose puck. And Brisebois with the block for the Canadiens. And it's flipped outside the line, so a late chance for the Islanders. Uwe Krupp at center. Long pass. There's Thomas. Get over the line, and the clock will run down in this second period as the two teams traded goals. And the score at the end of 40 minutes, the Canadiens won, the Islanders won. We welcome you back to the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum as we get set for the third period in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Championship Series. The New York Islanders trying to stave off elimination tonight are tied 1-1 with the Montreal Canadiens looking for their 12th consecutive playoff win.
One rule that every coach has, you never lose your last game at home.
They like to have.
Al Arbor and the New York Islanders in a 1-1 tie don't want to lose the last game at home.
Well, as Chris mentioned, the Islanders have been down 3-0 at various times in their history, yet they have never been swept in a best-of-7 series. Happened once in a best-of-5, but never in a best-of-7.
When you look at Jacques Demers and his team would like to wrap it up. They do have some hurts. Kirk Muller has a sore foot. Brian Bellows with the rib problems. And a number of other players. Kevin Haller took one off the ankles tonight, and I'm sure they would like to have some time off, as would Patrick Roy.
Kirk Muller getting set to face off against Pierre Turgeon. LeClair and Bellows for the Canadiens, Bullock and Dalgarno for the Islanders, and we're underway with the third period. Lyle Odelein for Montreal. Muller sliding into the zone. There's Glenn Healy leaving it. Kasparaitis got there to touch it for icing, and then he was shouldered to the ice by LeClair.
And you can see the Islanders complaining to Dan Maruelli. Another one of those icing calls, Dick, like international play where they call the icing as soon as it goes over the red line. Now watch Kasparaitis. LeClair catches him off balance, throws him to the ice.
Somebody threw, one of his teammates threw snow in his face while he was down there. John, what about the Islanders? Here they are. You know, the game was very quiet. Had the Canadiens made it 2-0, I felt in that second period that school might have been out. But in the 14th minute, Steve Thomas took control of the game, and certainly his team made the big hit on LeClair. Same shift scored the goal, and suddenly things turned around.
And then they had another opportunity after the goal to kill off a penalty, and that kept the crowd in it. And I think that the Islanders built on that. And Pierre Turgeon again goes off.
Islanders win the draw. Kasparaitis goes deep. Bellows watching him. Kasparaitis stays with it. Gets help from Dalgarno. To David Bullock. Islanders cycling, and the shot goes off the stick to the corner. Fitzgerald drops it off in the corner. Dalgarno against Schneider. Big Brad Dalgarno, the Hamilton native, tries to center it, and it's off the skate and out to center ice. Bullock takes the pass, and it is a two-line offside.
You know, I don't think there's anything sinister, perhaps, John, in the fact that Turgeon is being taken out of face-offs in the offensive or defensive zone. I think his shoulder is still sore. I don't think he can maybe win the face-offs or handle them as well as he normally would. I think that's one of the reasons. But he's back out again now.
He seems to be able to shoot the puck all right, but there is the strain when you do take the draw. If the opposition player goes the other way, you take a chance that you might hurt your shoulder again.
He hasn't been able to be quite as dominant here tonight as he was in Game 3.
We're in the first minute of the third period. Uwe Krupp behind the net, and the chant from the Islander fans starts up again. Ronan intercepted the pass at center ice, but had trouble with it. Now Brisebois bumped by Derek King, and Krupp sends it to the far side. Jeff Norton sends it into the Montreal zone. Patrick Roy, one hand on the stick, and King intercepts. Turgeon chops at it. Thomas goes after it behind the goal. Daigneault for the Canadiens, and he clears it to center. Turgeon at center ice. Norton on the near side. Blocked by Brisebois. King following up. Ronan back down the ice for the Canadiens. Was saying yesterday that you wouldn't think twice about a 4-game win streak during the regular season, but everybody thinks 4 in a row when you're down 3-0 is an impossible situation in the playoffs. Here's Keane looking for a loose puck. Thomas knocked down at center ice, and it's in the skates of Keane to DiPietro. He had 3 shots on goal in the second period, bumped by Thomas there. And Uwe Krupp past Thomas and down the ice, and this will be icing against the Islanders as it's touched by Éric Desjardins.
We are at that time of the hockey season when we can't bring you out-of-town scores from around the National Hockey League, but hockey is still being played. And Laval, a surprise in the Memorial Cup championship round, leading Peterborough 1-0 tonight. That's in the third period. Winner playing through St. Marie tomorrow in the American Hockey League Calder Cup final. Rochester meeting Cape Breton. John Van Boxmeer's Rochester Americans. And the International Hockey League, surprise! Fort Wayne Comets beat San Diego. They had won, but more games than any pro team had ever won in one season. 62, I think, beating the Canadiens' record of 60. Pokey Reddick, what a record he had. One of your old buddies, John.
Playing himself back into the NHL. And another teammate of mine is the coach of that team, Al Sims, a former defenseman with the Boston Bruins and Hartford Whalers, coaching the Fort Wayne Comets. Bill McDougall for the Cape Breton Oilers, setting all sorts of playoff records in the American League this year.
DiPietro and Ferraro. And the Canadiens win the draw. Haller's shot is blocked, and Benoît Hogue has it. That one shook Flatley up. He's on the limp. The Islander captain will try to get to the bench. Or will he? No, he'll stay out there and try and skate it off. This may be a bit of a gamble by Flatley, but he's got the puck and seems to be moving okay. Flips it in, and Hogue is after it. Benoît Hogue. There's Flatley on the far side. He took a bump and stays with it. Patrick Flatley. Pass behind Ferraro, and the Canadiens will come back. Keane drops it off. DiPietro. Malakhov back on the ice. He was shaken up in the first period and hasn't seen much ice time since.
Didn't come out for the second period, went back to the dressing room, and now has returned for the third.
We have played 3 minutes of the third period, a 1-1 tie on Long Island. As the Canadiens try to confirm their reservation for the Stanley Cup Championship. Jesse Bélanger on the move. Pilon has a grab on him. Shot to the side of the net. Healy covered that short side. And Kasparaitis starts back for the Islanders ahead to Turgeon. And it was knocked back in offside.
Pat Flatley gets hit right on the laces with his shot. Watch Flatley go out to the point, and you can see he takes it off the foot, and that's why he was hobbling around.
David Bullock for the Islanders lost it. Bélanger and Turgeon with a nice defensive play, impeding Bélanger's shot. Bélanger back on it again, and there's Turgeon right on him, making the check. Dalgarno bumped by Gilbert Dionne, but the Islanders come out. Bullock hits the line. His shot is blocked. And the Canadiens will turn with Denis Savard. Denis Savard at the line, drops for Schneider, knocked down by Bullock, so a solid defensive start for the Islanders in the third. That pass broken up by Dionne, but Bullock follows. There's a shot. Blocker saved. And the rebound cleared by the Canadiens. Dalgarno keeps it in. Now Savard intercepts, and he'll send it down the ice. Norton turns as both teams make changes. Uwe Krupp clears it around the board. Marty McInnis plays it. Ryan Mullen in for the Islanders. Couldn't get his stick on it, and it comes out to center. LeClair forechecking against Krupp. Fitzgerald almost lost it. Now ahead to Mullen. His first pass broken up. Now flips it in. Daigneault back to to get it for Montreal. There's Mullen looking to center it off Daigneault's stick. Moving in Jeff Norton. Norton behind the goal. Fitzgerald out in front. Here's a chance. McInnis broke his stick. Canadians start back. 3-on-2. John LeClair drops it off for Muller. Here's the shot. It goes high. Muller after the rebound. Daigneault keeps it in. Boy, McInnis had a great chance at one end, broke the stick, and the Canadians came right back.
And he hustled back to do his job defensively on the 3-on-2.
5 minutes, 20 seconds gone in the third period, and still 1-1 tie.
Marty McInnis took the shot on a nice setup by Jeff Norton, but his stick broke. And that's one of the dangers of the aluminum sticks. As we watch at the other end, the Canadians on the rush, and watch as the Islanders, there you see McInnis. He had gone to the bench, picked up another stick. Now watch McInnis right here. The metal shaft, and then the blade comes right out, and you can see the blade go flying through the crease as McInnis missed that shot. The stick broke in his hand. Those metal sticks, the glue sometimes gives way. You heat them up, and you think they're as good as the wooden ones, and there the blade of the stick came right out of the shaft.
McInnis, a U.S. Olympian who broke a kneecap March 27th. He's wearing a foam pad on the knee, playing in his second game back off that injury. Inserted into the lineup to inject some speed for the Islanders. Here's a turnover. Damphousse in front. Keane can't get a shot away. Deflected into the corner with Healy down. Damphousse behind the net again. So the Islanders look a little disorganized right now. Flatley against the boards with Keane on him. Puck comes free. DiPietro. Band on it. Flatley gets it out. Now Flatley sending away Ferraro. Here's Ray Ferraro taking a look back in front. They score! Caught Flatley.
Few times the Canadians have missed an assignment. Watch Pat Flatley go to the net. And he gets his stick on it on the backhand. Éric Desjardins let Flatley go right by, and a perfect pass from Ray Ferraro. But watch Desjardins. He's facing Flatley, and Flatley goes right by him. Gets his stick on it on the backhand, and no chance for Patrick Roy.
Well, if the career in comedy doesn't work, you can always fall back on this hockey thing. The captain comes up with a big goal for the Islanders. And Malakhov, while the cheers for Flatley continue, is headed back to the Islander dressing room.
And you can see he's limping back to the Islander dressing room.
Flatley from Ferraro. Flatley second. And it comes at 5:57 of this third period. Islanders with their first lead of the game. They have not led by 2 at any point in this series. But it's 2-1 now, and they'll try to add to it. Puck flipped high and off the ice surface for a whistle.
Funny how it goes. You mentioned, Chris, how the Islanders were running around a little bit in their own zone. Canadians with a couple of chances, and we saw Flatley earlier in this period, and you took a look at it in the replay too, getting hit by the puck and was down. There's the turnover just inside the blue line as DiPietro tried to shoot it in. The rush up ice, the pass by Ferraro, the redirection by Flatley. New York leads, and this place is noisy.
And another turnover. Derek King put it in front. Brunet against the boards for the Canadians, and he'll start out to center ice and clear it into the Islanders zone. Ed Ronan after it for Montreal, knocked down King and goes after the puck. Ronan to the point, shot by Schneider, deflecting into the corner. Carbonneau there behind the net. Benoît Brunet against Norton, and Jeff Norton comes up with it, pushes it ahead to Thomas, and he'll flip it out. The assist by Ferraro gives him 20 points in the playoffs. That is third in the Stanley Cup scoring race. Doug Gilmour leading with 28. Wayne Gretzky with 26 is second. Kasparaitis double team, took a high stick. Kasparaitis hurt. Play continues. Here's Brisebois at the point, and now play whistle dead. And remember, a linesman could make this call if Dan Morelli didn't see it. We'll take a break and find out if there's a penalty coming up when we return.
Kirk Muller in the penalty box for hooking. We saw the high stick on Kasparaitis, which was rather flagrant. Then the hook was kind of hidden in the crowd. But Muller against Brian Mullen. So the Islanders, who lead by 1, get a power play chance.
1 for 2 with the man advantage in the game. Pierre Turgeon, Derek King, Steve Thomas up front. Here Jeff Norton skating the center for the Islanders. Sends it in off the glass. King into forecheck for New York. Gets possession along the boards, but now the Canadiens clear. Pass Norton out to center. Mike Keane, Vincent Damphousse, the penalty killers. Daigneault out there as well. Thomas on him. Thomas knocks it free for Turgeon. Now the Islanders set it up. Keane on Norton, sliding it through. Here's Krupp shot, deflecting high and into the crowd.
Deflected by Vinny Damphousse, who got out and made a good play on Uwe Krupp as the Islanders were cramming the front of the net in front of Patrick Roy. Nice little pass right here to Uwe Krupp, but watch Damphousse recover and get the stick out. Flex it up and over the glass. Steve Thomas almost took that one off the top of the head. Patrick has been so good and been on such a roll that the Islanders have to get in front of him and just can't let him see the puck.
Minute 20 to go in the power play. And that face-off just inside the Canadiens' line. Carbonneau and Turgeon. Carbonneau won it clean down the ice. Power play now 8 for 81. Here's Norton, right side Krupp. He skated well tonight. Uwe Krupp. King's in front. Krupp hangs on to it. Now feeds back to Norton. Cross ice, Thomas. Brunet watching him. Turgeon behind the goal. Centers it. Norton to Thomas. There they are trying to make that perfect play again, John, but they keep it alive. And now Turgeon's pass intercepted. Carbonneau out to Brunet at center.
And again, the pass from behind the net thrown into a maze of players instead of trying to bring it out himself. And it's tough to make that little touch pass.
Krupp hits center. Off the stick of Turgeon. Canadiens clear again. 30 seconds left.
29.
Dennis Baskey will lead the Islanders out. Ray Ferraro, who set up the go-ahead goal. In the middle, Kasparaitis. He is checked. Damphousse bumped off the puck. Hogue keeps it alive. Kasparaitis. Here's Baskey. Has room. Shot off an ankle in front. Flatley reaching for it. Cleared by Keane.
This power play looks much better, but again, the Canadiens so strong in front of the net, keeping the Islanders away.
And Muller back on, so the Canadiens weather the storm and are back at full strength. Benoît Hogue against the boards, hit by Muller out of the penalty box. Muller kicks it free. Nice work by Kirk Muller, and he'll skate to center with Keane. Here come the Canadiens. They slide it through. Muller just can't reach it. And it's cleared by Healy. Back comes Kasparaitis. Islanders making a change. It's over on right wing. Flatley looking to center it high in the air. Knocked down with a high stick and play whistled down by Dan Morelli.
Well, one thing teams that have played against the Canadiens in this playoff year will tell you, they have taken advantage of their opportunities. Tonight, John, they have not. There's been a 3-on-1, a couple of 2-on-1s, a 3-on-2 in this period. They haven't had a shot on goal in any of those situations. And folks, do you know how much these teams practice? 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. You wonder why they bother if they can't even get a shot. And with halfway through this third period, Montreal has to do something right now they have not done, obviously, in the games here. Score some goals. 2 with an overtime game in Game 3, and just 1 here tonight, almost 10 minutes into the third period.
But in Games 2 and Games 3, it was in the last 6 or 7 minutes where they did get the equalizer and then carry on into overtime.
How long can you live on the edge?
That's a question the Islander fans asking as well. They're living on the edge right now, but they do have the advantage in Game 4 at the moment, with under 10 minutes to go in regulation time. Dionne knocked down at center ice by Bullock. To Norton. Dalgarno and Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald hit the line. Tom Fitzgerald takes a look. Cross ice. Uwe Krupp moving in. Here's Krupp backhand. Patrick Roy rebound. They score. David Bullock.
The Islanders going to the net. The Canadiens watching Patrick Roy. How many can he stop? Uwe Krupp comes in from the point. Here's one save, a great one. Here's the second save, and it goes to David Bullock on the other side. And Patrick can't stop the third one. Uwe Krupp does a good job. The Islanders going to the net. Look at David Bullock. He's already down, gets up, and bangs the third shot past Patrick Roy.
John, I think Gilbert Dionne tried to tuck the puck back underneath Patrick from the edge of the crease. He shot it right back toward his own goal.
For the first time in this series, the New York Islanders have a 2-goal lead. It's 3-1 with 9:20 left.
It's one of the few times where the Canadiens have panicked. In this series, or any time in the last two series, you could see the panic.
Here's Brian Mullen dropping it off. Rich Pilon shot deflected by Loiselle. Mullen after it against the boards. Loiselle forechecking against Odelein. Mullen gets it loose. Now back into those skates, and they get a whistle. 8:50 left. Bullock with his fourth. Fitzgerald and Krupp get the assists on the goal.
John mentioned earlier on that when they would announce David Bullock not playing often during the season here in this building, fans would cheer. I think Al Armour would lead the cheering if you believe what was going on between those two, but Harbour feels a little different about young Mr. Bullock right now after some recent events.
Here's a giveaway. Muller in and a high shot handled by Healy and no rebound, but plenty of traffic in front of the Islander goaltender. And John LeClair is fencing there. Looks like Kasparaitis for the Islanders.
We talked about the Islanders going to try and get to Patrick Roy. The Canadiens doing the same thing. Glenn Healy is playing very well. And here's the high, hard one. A short goaltender, Glenn Healy, keeps that chin tucked in. Stays down well on the puck, and then the Canadiens crash the net. The streak definitely in jeopardy here tonight. The Islanders on a roll, and the Canadiens trying to fight back, running out of time. And you see the little asterisk as the Penguins carried it over 2 seasons. But you look at this streak, the Montreal Canadiens 11, and all the overtime games, and how they did manage to find ways to win when it looked like they were down and out.
8:39 left. And a 3-1 Islander lead. 3 straight goals, Thomas, Flatley, and Bullock. After the Canadiens had opened the scoring in the second period on Paul DiPietro's 6th of the playoffs. Muller trying to jam it in front, puts it in front, gets the loose puck and shoots it wide. Some pressure here by Montreal. Daigneault turning. J.J. Daigneault in front. Muller deflected it over the glass and out of play. Big shift by Muller. LeClair, and now LeClair in the corner, bumping with Dennis Baskey.
And they're both going to go as Dan Mariuelli doesn't want to let this one get out of hand. The Canadiens with some good pressure in the Islanders zone. And LeClair using his size in front of Glenn Healy. Here goes the USA chant, Dick. As you said, these United Nations team. And we're hollering USA here at the Nassau County Coliseum.
Well, the Canadiens have a couple of Americans in their lineup. And one of them is in the penalty box right now, John LeClair from Vermont.
Well, after the Blue Jays won the World Series, the U.S. doesn't want any part of an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final.
LeClair of the Canadiens, Baskey of the Islanders.
The way the LA Kings are playing, and you can't count the Islanders out.
Maybe they're chanting USA because both players going to the penalty box, Americans. 8:16 to go and a 4-on-4 situation. DiPietro and Damphousse for the Canadiens. It's Marty McInnis, Benoît Hogue for the Islanders up front. Norton off the boards, past Desjardins and down the ice. Damphousse leads it there, and there's Krupp, who's had a big game. Uwe Krupp in! Backhand stopped by Patrick Roy. Uwe Krupp with a pair of assists in this game for the New York Islanders. Damphousse starts back. Leaves it, DiPietro shot, and Healy through the screen made the stop.
Jeff Norton has played pretty well coming out of the stands in the Black Aces squad. And because Malakhov's injury, Norton has played a lot, and you can see Healy looks around, and he looked the right way this time and makes the save. He talked about the Carbonneau goal the other night. You see the shots on goal 21-21. And how he looked around the wrong way of Uwe Krupp. Krupp was a screen, and he said he leaned the wrong way to look around Krupp, and that's why he couldn't get back to make the save.
Here we are in Game 4, the third period of Game 4, and just 3 shots separate these two teams, but 3 games do as well. Islanders have actually outshot the Canadiens by 3 through 3 games, and now into the third period of Game 4. Kasparaitis, rink-wide pass. There's Fitzgerald and Pierre Turgeon. Turgeon digging in against Schneider, cutting in through the goal crease. It comes to Kasparaitis. In for Turgeon, bounced over his stick. And Schneider takes over. Vincent Damphousse skating to center. 3-1, Islanders lead. 3 straight goals, 2 in the third period. And Bullock with the third goal on the ice has the puck again. Here's David Bullock moving in. Going right for the net, but couldn't get a shot away. Brisebois starts back for the Canadiens. Keane off the boards. Norton will take over, watched by Dionne, who steals it and centers, but Krupp there again. Ray Ferraro dumps out to center. Bullock can't handle it. Under a half minute to go now in the coincidental minor. Jeff Norton. Right side, Patrick Flatley. Against Daigneault, Ferraro with a chance. Ray Ferraro lost it off the end of his stick. And the puck cleared out to center ice. Vaske and LeClair get set to return.
I've always felt that 4-on-4 favors the team that's trying to play catch-up hockey, but the Canadiens have sat back in a defensive posture, and the Islanders have had the best chances.
Here come the Islanders again. Ferraro drops it off. Flatley whipped it high over the bar. Took a long time coming down. Now John LeClair gets it out to center ice. Under 6 minutes to go. Flatley again to the line. Benoît Hogue streaking on left wing. Hogue looking to center in front. Ferraro missed it on a nice setup by Hogue. Ferraro couldn't handle the one-timer. Muller back for the Canadiens. Can't get a shot away. Hogue deep back checking for the Islanders. Kasparaitis up the boards to Ferraro. He can't get out of the zone. Kasparaitis hounded by LeClair, but here come the Islanders. Thomas almost on a collision course with Benoît Hogue. Thomas waits for help and gives off to Kasparaitis. Now to Derek King. Diagonal shoot in. Thomas has a man in front. Couldn't get it there. Now passes, and Desjardins breaks it up. Here's King with the steal. And it deflects over the glass and out of play.
Brown, you're right about the Canadiens. You mentioned on the goal that was scored how they seem to lose their cool. Dionne in particular with the bad play right at the crease. We saw Éric Desjardins there do something very uncharacteristic of him through most of this playoff year. A giveaway right in front of Patrick Roy. 5:12 left. And unless there is a miracle on May the 22nd, the Canadiens will have a streak snap that has run through 32 days.
That sense of panic that you haven't seen in the Canadiens, no matter what the score, no matter what time. We saw it here in the third period tonight.
Chris and I thought the Penguins were out of it the other night when they were down by 2 against this team, and they came back to tie it. Send it into OT in Game 7.
Didn't take Ron Francis long that night. Here's Denis Savard trying to get the Canadiens closer. Kevin Haller backhand, picked out by Healy. Derek King on the wing. Gets by one man out to center. Norton will shoot it in. Thomas on the near side. Flips it towards the net. It goes through to Patrick Roy. Turgeon centers it. Broke it up. And the Canadians can't clear it out. Norton shoots it back in. King forechecking. Muller watching him. Thomas now. Pilon moves in. Rich Pilon shot, and it's underneath the pads of Patrick Roy. 4:27 left, and the Islanders looking for more. They lead by 2.
Dick, I'm not picking the Stars tonight, so you don't have to worry that there'll be both goalies and then Dave Keon. Uwe Krupp has had a strong game, as all of the Islander defense. I thought Jeff Norton was very good. Replacement role without Malakhov, Pat Flatley. Ray Ferraro was much better tonight.
No time left, though. 4:15. Brisebois around the boards. Daigneault can't get it out. Kept in Dalgarno. Bullock. Checked by Brisebois. There's Rich Pilon. He flips it into the corner. Fitzgerald there. Fitzgerald takes a bump, and J.J. Daigneault will take over. Canadians down by 2. And the streak of 11 straight in real jeopardy here. Dennis Baskey in his own zone. And he flips it into the Montreal zone. Patrick Roy quickly up at center as the Islanders were changing again. Odelein over the red line and in. Keane leaves it for Norton. Kept in by Odelein. There's a shot deflecting into the crowd.
Marty McInnis did a good job after he let that puck get by him on the boards to get out on Odelein and deflect that puck up and over the glass. And McInnis knew he wasn't being pinched down on, and that's why he was so upset that puck got by him. And we're looking at Don Maloney. That was one of his strengths as a player. He was always so strong on the boards, used in a lot of defensive situations.
Chris, we haven't mentioned the 2 games we've done here, that it was in this building that a goalie named John Garrett in the All-Star game had the keys to the car in his pocket. He had been so outstanding. He was without question the outstanding man on the ice. And then another fella came along in the 3rd period and scored what, 4 times?
4 in the last 10 minutes.
Picked your pocket, clean as a whistle of the keys.
Won his 13th car at the time, and there I am. My wife's driving a Nissan Micra. How do you like that?
Name's Gretzky, folks, in case you just might have wondered who did all of that to our friend John. Right here, Nassau Coliseum, right?
That's right.
There's a shot right through. Canadians looking for a spark to get back in this one. So shall we say the great goaltend tradition has continued here at Nassau Coliseum.
Very good, Chris. Thank you.
And it's a stretch. Krupp back out there. Hogue gets it outside the line, and here's Ferraro with Flatley. Ray Ferraro can't tee it up. Odelein with the check. And back come Montreal, Kirk Muller and Schneider, but Ferraro was decked in the Canadian zone and play whistle down.
Now, this is an interesting situation. One of Al Arbour's complaints after Game 3 was the fact that how did it work out? With one of the Canadian players hurt, with Brisebois down on the ice, the referee blew the play down when the Islanders had a rush. Although the way the Islanders talked, you think they'd had a goal, but it wasn't. Montreal in the Game 2 in Montreal scored a goal with Brad Dalgarno down on the ice, and the play went on. The whistle did not go, and the puck went in the net. Here we have Ferraro after a collision inside the Montreal blue line, and we'll check out how it happened here. It's a stick up by Lyle Odelein.
Odelein stick caught Ferraro across the side of the head. As you can see, there's not much contact until after Odelein spins around, and right there you can see the stick right in the back of the head, and Ferraro goes down. And they have a big screen here, and you can hear the fans after they've seen the replay on the big screen. And Ferraro was slow to get up. Chris talked about it being hit in the nose in Game 3, and he had to go to the dressing room a couple of times for that. And it looks like he's going to be all right here. Now he's at least to his knees.
Be all right as long as when the bells stop ringing. But that's a tough one on all sides. And he's had quite a playoff year. You see that sign there. And there's a sign that says, "We remember 1975. We still believe." And they are believers here tonight. With 2 minutes and 49 seconds left, the Islanders have a 2-goal lead on the Canadians, whose scoring has dried up. in their visit down to Uniondale, New York. Now Odelein hearing from Uwe Krupp and Patrick Flatley as the aftermath of this. Ferraro making his way to the New York bench. And Maruelli had better be careful right here.
And that was behind the play in defense of Dan Maruelli. The play had gone up the other way, as you described, Dick, and the Canadians had control. And Maruelli had turned to watch the play, and Odelein stick came around and smashed Ray Ferraro.
Well, again, Ray this morning said all they want to do is have a chance to play Monday. And right now they're 2:49 away from a return visit to the Forum in Montreal.
Where the Canadians have played only 2 home games since the 28th of April. 4 home games, rather, since the 28th of April. Almost a month. Only 4 home games. 2 against Buffalo and the 2 in this series.
And the Islanders played so well in Game 2. They were no-shows for Game 1, but they did play so well in Game 2. They had some chances to win, but I'm sure they're not in that kind of awe about playing in the Montreal Forum in Game 5.
Bellows bumping Bullock, but the Islanders are able to clear the zone again. Desjardins fires it in and hops over Healy's stick. LeClair, first man to it, shot right on. Loiselle for the Islanders. Gets it ahead to Dalgarno. Cut off by Bellows at center ice. Kasparaitis is there. Pilon ahead to Dalgarno. And Brisebois back into his own zone. Sends it past Bellows, and Loiselle clears it back in on Patrick Roy, an offside call. 2:07 left, third period.
Well, John, the Canadians unable to storm if they are going to come up with a bit of a minor miracle here to force OT again. They just haven't put any pressure on to any great degree for a long time.
Okay, Dick, let's get our coaching hats on here. There's 2:07 left. When would you pull the goaltender? You're down by 2?
Yeah, 2 down pretty soon.
I agree with you. I think anything under that 2-minute mark, you're down by 2. Why not go for it?
Jacques Demers pulled Patrick Roy in overtime this year, late in the season against Washington. The tie was no good for them in their battle for position in the Adams division, and they lost the game. Never seen that before.
Exactly 2 minutes to go in the third period. Schneider challenged by Thomas. Now Haller. Forward check by King. King had his stick held. Thomas in to help out. Knocks it free. Turgeon shooting right on rebound. And 2 big stops there by Patrick Roy. Keeping the Canadians alive with 1:37 to go.
And you can bet Pierre Turgeon would like one of these to go in. Good chance on Patrick Roy. He tried to go through the legs, and wow, his timing has been impeccable. Down early enough to have them closed and make the save. Look at all the time Pierre Turgeon has. Looks, tries to find a spot, and doesn't hit that spot. And again, Patrick Roy not only the first save, but an opportunity, and does make the second save.
Talked to Bob Nystrom today about what he remembered of the comeback in '75, and he said in general when you're coming back, the toughest game to win isn't the 4th, it's the 5th in the home rink of the opposing team. You can get game 5, then you're home with momentum, and all of a sudden the streak's possible, or the comeback. Patrick Roy's out of the goal, and the Canadians have an extra attacker on the ice. Norton flips it, kept it at the line. Desjardins shot blocked by Flatley, out to center. 1:15 left. And Brisebois back into his own zone. Fitzgerald watching him, deflects the pass over the glass and out of play, and there'll be a face-off in the Montreal zone with 1:09 to go.
Demers didn't have a chance to pull him, John, around that 2-minute mark. When Roy got to the bench, there was 1:23 left.
Pat Flatley with a good save as Jeff Norton turned the puck over. Pat Flatley has had a strong game tonight. The captain and leader of the New York Islanders. And if you were looking for an inspirational leader tonight, I think you would have to look at Pat Flatley.
One of the many players who at this time of the long hockey year is playing hurt.
There's a look at Derek King, another one.
Yeah.
And Scott Russell said, well, you're going to be okay. You might have a big scar, but you're going to be okay. I guess that's all right for non-hockey players to say that. Jacques Demers, and he wasn't talking about the streak at all, Dick. He was taking each game as an individual game, and I think most players do that during the playoffs. During the regular season, you do get caught up in the streak thing, but during the playoffs, it's each game, and you treat it as an individual entity.
And a timeout's been called.
Catch which team it was that called the timeout. So let's recap. 1:09 left in regulation time. Jacques Demers, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, his second time in his coaching career, which spans 20 years in pro hockey, one win away from reaching the Stanley Cup final. He did not make it in 1986 with St. Louis. They were beaten by Calgary. And he has a chance here. In fact, he has really 4 chances now in this series. He would have hoped it would have ended with the first one, but they're in tough in that score. And with the faceoff just outside the Montreal blue line, the net is still empty.
And it was Al Arbour who called the timeout.
You see Lauren Henning giving some instructions on the bench, and the Islander defense, who has played very well tonight, give a lot of credit to their defensive coach, Rick Green, former Canadian, who's also behind the bench with Al Arbour.
You know, lost in the rhetoric of Al's tirade the other night, he did say that despite the third loss, his team would not quit and they would be back for game 4. And those are the truest words he spoke in that emotional press conference following game 3. Here's Bellows trying to center it through the goal crease, kicked out, and back comes Fitzgerald. The net is empty. Tom Fitzgerald working in. Brisebois the save. Kasparaitis backhand, the net's kept out. Here's Benoît Hogue, empty net, scores!
His first goal of the series, and Glenn Healy started that play by tipping the pass out up high. The Canadians had all gone to the net, and Healy tipped the pass out high so that Tom Fitzgerald could get it, create the play. Kasparaitis jumped in, and with a 2-goal lead, the defenseman can jump in. Kasparaitis was there, and then Benoît Hogue with the long empty netter put this one away.
So the Islanders will maintain their streak of never being swept in a 7-game series as it's cleared in on Healy and a half-minute to go. We don't know if the Islanders will be coming back to the Nassau Coliseum, but they have certainly given the home fans some thrills in these playoffs. Brunet trying to kick it free. Centered out in front off of Healy's stick, and back turns Loiselle, and a standing O as the countdown's on here at the Nassau Coliseum. The streak's over, and the Islanders are still alive.
And you can see the New York Islanders break their streak of losses to the Montreal Canadiens at the Nassau County Coliseum, and the fans appreciate the effort of the Islanders, and you gotta believe, and that's the one thing Al Arbour, his team came out, played very well in the first period, and Patrick Roy was the difference, kept his team in, and then the Canadiens came on in the second period. Glenn Healy kept it close. And here in the third, the Islanders, with that grit and determination, putting this one away.
Now, that's when the Canadians sort of lost it, John. I thought they got the 1-0 lead around the 7-minute mark, and the Islanders didn't do much for the next 5, 6, 7 minutes until the tying goal by Thomas. That was when Montreal seemed to have a chance, but they didn't cash in, and the Islanders came on for a well-deserved win.
Al Arbour and the Islanders hope it's a good omen, because the Islanders scored 4 straight tonight and win 4-1. Healy, Krupp, and the rest of the gang celebrate. They're still in the series. Our Molson 3 Stars are next.
Welcome back to the Nassau County Coliseum. The Molson 3 Stars tonight. The number 1 star, the big German defenseman of the New York Islanders, Uwe Krupp. He had 2 assists in leading the Islanders to their 4-1 win. Glenn Healy, who faced 24 shots in the Montreal Canadiens, the 2nd star and the 3rd star from the Montreal Canadiens. A strong game on defense, J.J. Daigneault. The final count once again, the Islanders over Montreal 4-1. The Islanders stay alive, ending the Habs' 11-game